Good morning, everyone. Welcome all who seek renewal in a weary world. Welcome all who come with love and energy to share. Welcome to those who worry for the future. Welcome each one who is grateful for today. Know that in this place, you are not alone. In community, we share our strength with one another, and we keep the flame of love burning bright. Know that in this place, responsibility is shared. Here, tradition holds us, ancestors shine a light from the past. Here, the young lift their bright faces and beckon us onward. Take my hand, and we can go together. Welcome to worship.
The words for our chalice lighting are The Great Turning by Lisa Garcia Sampson. In these wild, historic, and uncertain times, we gather to remember who we are, who we belong to, and what we are called to do. As we light this chalice, we kindle the spirit of the Great Turning, the movement for justice alive in this nation today. May we feel it in our bones and in the stillness of this hour. May we sense it calling our name. Now, I would like to introduce today's worship leader. Dr. Emma Farrell is a seminarian at Meadville Lombard Theological School. This is their second time as a visiting worship leader at CCUU. Prior to heeding the call to ministry, Emma worked in academia as a biochemistry researcher, taught at several universities, and worked in the private sector as an analytical chemist. They continue to teach and design science classes as a faculty associate. Emma has published professionally in several related fields, including metabolomics, enzymology, and education, but consistently found the most meaningful parts of their jobs to be the relational ones. Emma has practiced building community in 6 major metropolitan areas where they've lived, and now devotes their life to building beloved community and dismantling the legacy burdens of white supremacy, and to make room for nurturance, mutuality, and hilarity. In their personal life, Emma identifies as a queer, neurodivergent, solo polyamorist whose theological leanings are religious naturalism and Buddhism. Emma has 2 young children, enjoys blues dancing, tutors science and math, and consumes books. And now, if you would stand, if you are willing or able, body or spirit, and say the covenant with me. First of all, I'll introduce myself. Hello. My name is Lois Phillips, and my pronouns are she, her. Our church shares a covenant that we make with one another. This is a promise that helps to remind us of why we gather and how we want to be with one another. Then it says, please rise in body or spirit. You've done that, thank you. And now, please join me. We unite to strengthen the bonds of kinship among all persons, to promote human dignity, and to increase reverence for life's creating, sustaining, and transforming power through worship, study, and service. And before we sing our opening hymn, thank you for remaining standing, I have a few words about it. I'm Gonna Lift My Sister Up is a Black gospel song by Faya Rose Touré, who was born in 1945 as Rose Gaines. In 2002, she abandoned her slave name and took a new name in honor of the first president of Guinea. Faya Ora Rose Touré has made a considerable contribution to American civil rights. She was the first Black female judge in Alabama. She is also an activist, songwriter, playwright, and radio host. She founded several museums, including the National Voting Rights Museum and the Black Belt Arts and Cultural Center. This song was born from a person deeply committed to restorative racial justice. I invite you all to sing along with me now.
Service when we look at a wonder box and wondering together about what on earth could be in this box here that represents what we're talking about today. Wondering if anybody has any guesses. Anyone? A what? A key. A key. That's great. It's not a key, but it would have been a good guess. Anyone else? A squirrel. Yeah, no, there is no squirrel. Though the squirrels are very active in the outside world today. A shamrock. Oh, a shamrock would have been great, but no. What was it? A cougar?
Someone said the Constitution.
A what?
Someone said the Constitution.
The Constitution! All right, we should all stand up for the Constitution. But, but no, I'm wondering if anybody would like to come forward to open the Wonder Box today.
I'll do it.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Young at heart. There we go. It's a fan. Thank you, Mark. It's a fan. I wonder, fans are amazing things because fans, in particular in wonder boxes where you're not finding the key or the Constitution or anything that you might expect today, fans are things that blow. And blowing things, I know. Okay, so fans are things that move air air around. How about that? You know, we're not going to blow the Constitution. That is the thing in this church. But they move air around, and because they move air around, they move everything, right? Our air comes through our lungs. It can be moved around. But a fan is a special implement that I think Miss Emma is going to tell us about.
Thank you so much, Rev Karen. Okay, so this is an interactive time for all ages. So I'm going to ask for 5 to 9 volunteers who would be willing to come up. And let me tell you what you're going to be doing. So today's service is all about working together, taking shifts, right? And so what better way, I thought, than in the animal world, other than humans, maybe we could talk about how geese fly together in V formation. So I need some geese who might be willing to come and stand up here. We'd have maybe the head geese right here, and then we could have a couple more geese behind in a nice V. Bless you. Thank you so much for being willing. Awesome. So we have wonderful. Yes. So proceed up in a V formation. You can come up on the stage as you need. Awesome. Yes. The more the merrier. Okay. Thank you. Okay. The front can be, yes, beautiful. Mary or Mari? Thank you, Mari. You can be the front. I'm good. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, great. You've self-organized into a V. I'm very, very proud. Okay. And so the fan, Rev Karen, is going to represent the headwind for us. Yes. Thank you. Beautiful. You guys are just beautiful. Okay, so how this is going to work, I'm going to read some facts about how geese fly together in formation and how they take care of each other. And after each fact I read, I'm going to invite the front goose to move to the back and someone else to step up and take the place, okay? Yes, thank you, Rev Karen. Beautiful. So first, as each goose flaps its wings, it creates an uplift for the bird behind. By flying in V formation, the whole flock adds at least 71% greater flying range than if each bird flew on its own. So people who share a common direction and a sense of community can get where they are going more quickly and more easily because they are traveling on the thrust of one another. Thank you, Mari. Off you are. Yes, beautiful. Beautiful. All right, next. When a goose falls out of formation, it suddenly feels the drag and resistance of trying to go it alone and quickly gets back into formation to take advantage of the lifting power of the bird in front. If we learn from geese, beautiful, thank you for demonstrating. If we learn from the geese, then we will stay in formation with those who are headed the same way we are together. Thank you, next goose. Beautiful. Awesome. When the head goose gets tired, it rotates to the back of the V as we've been doing, and another goose flies point. It is sensible to take turns doing demanding jobs with people or with geese flying south. Perfect. Thank you so much. Next. Let's see. Geese, they honk from behind to encourage each other. I love this congregation. Yes, they honk from behind to encourage each other, to keep up the speed. And the encouragement keeps each other going. And the next goose can proceed. Thank you so much. And finally, and this is important, when a goose is sick or injured or falls out of formation for some reason, 2 other geese fall out of formation and follow that goose down to lend protection and help. Yes, to protect and help the goose who has fallen out. They stay with the fallen goose until it is able to fly or until it passes away. And only then, after that goose has reached its destination of able to fly or passing away, only then do the other geese launch out on their own. or with another formation to catch up with their group. And if we learn from the geese, we will stand by each other like that as well. Thank you all. Let's give our participants a hand.
This morning's offering is one of our monthly Share the Plate offerings. And I'm excited to share that this month's Share the Plate offering will support a program called Music for the Ages, also known as Senior Rock. Mari is proud to be an event leader for this nonprofit that brings young children and seniors in aging facilities together through music and movement, creating joy and meaningful connections across generations. And there's a short video that we have, and we'll watch it now.
I started Music for the Ages in August of 2024, and it is a registered 501c3 nonprofit corporation, and our mission is to provide music events integrating seniors with children. The events are called Senior Rock, and they are done at senior centers, nursing homes, memory care facilities, independent living facilities. We bring the kids and the fun, and they provide the seniors. In June of 2024, a woman named Gina Robinson, who is the activity director at a senior center in Bartlett, reached out to me at Rockin' Kids and said, "Hey, I have this idea. I'd really like to bring some kids and some seniors together and do some music. Have you ever done anything like this?" And we had never done anything like that, but the idea did intrigue me. So we did set a date and we hosted an event, and it was amazing. I knew right then and there that this is what I needed to do. So within 2 months, I had the corporation formed, the nonprofit in the works, board of directors, and we had several events scheduled. Rockin' Kids provides the event leaders, the instruments and props, the curriculum, the music expertise, and all the children. We have so many children that we can market to and advertise with that are already involved in the Rockin' Kids program. Although this is open to any child, it was a natural partnership. Both of these age groups truly are living in the moment. There's so many studies that have been done about the psychological and social emotional benefits of children interacting with seniors and how it brings them joy, helps them to relive some of their youth, and brings back memories for them. There's also so many benefits to music for both age groups, cognitive and social. So the mashup of the two ages is pure joy. And this is different from other programs that, say, nursing homes or senior centers bring in. Usually it's something where there's a performer, a singer, or a piano player, and the seniors just sit and listen. It's lovely and they do enjoy it, but the difference is this is very interactive for them. They are clapping along, they're getting the instruments, they're singing with us, they're playing with balloons, they're popping bubbles, they're using ribbons. They get to do all of it with us, and they're also getting some exercise. So just even the little amounts that they might be moving their arms or stomping their feet, even if they're still sitting in their chairs, that's exercise that they wouldn't normally be getting. It's great to see the pictures and videos, but truly to experience it, you have to see it in person, and it will really change your life. We need lots of hearts and hands to help us. We need event leaders. We need volunteers to help at our events. We need children and families to come to our events. We need people to make connections for us at their senior communities so we can set up events. We also need companies to sponsor us, and we need donations. We are funded solely by donations. And what our donations do is pay for our costs to provide these programs. They pay our event leaders, they pay for insurance, they pay for advertising and marketing. We don't have a lot of overhead costs, but we do still have some costs, and we need help from people like you. We are thankful to everyone in the community who has already helped us. We're very thankful for our Rockin' Kids staff, our volunteers, our families who have attended events, our senior centers who have opened up their seniors to us. We're grateful for everyone, and we can't wait to see where this goes. And so I only have 5 more words for you. What are you waiting for?
The morning offering will now be gratefully received.
We shall be known, we shall be known, we shall be known, we shall be known, we shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round and we follow. We shall be known, we shall be known by the ones who will when we to seek of change that rise from deep within the earth. We shall be known. It is time now. It is time now that we go. It is time now that we go. No shall be known. It is time now that we go. It is time now that we go. Time to be alive. To be alive. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who shall be known and we follow. We shall be known by the ones who go and reach to see the change that shall bring deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we grow. It is time now that we go. It is time 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 that we go. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. Learn to lead in love. Learn to lead in love. Learn to lead in love.
Please join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation. Let's take a deep breath in if you feel so inclined. Spirit of life and love within us, among us, around us, we offer the meditations of our heart today. We come together in this quiet moment to unify our hearts again towards the clarion call of our time. May justice and equity guide us to true solidarity. And know that when I cherish and tend to the divine spark within me, when I nurture myself through rest and mutual care, there is greater potential for mutual understanding, trust, and care. Let us know in our hearts that love is not scarce. Our ability to extend compassion and grace can sometimes be, but we can trust in the abundance of love and its potential. I place my hand over my heart and know I can feel the spirit of life within me. I invite you, if you wish, to place your hands over your hearts. Feel your living bodies here in this place, in this time, and just be together in one another's presence. Blessed be, and amen.
This is our time to recognize the joys and concerns within our congregation. If you have anything to share, please use the form on the website under the Pastoral Care tab. You can also find it in our weekly e-news, or call Rev Pam or anyone on the lay ministry team, or simply leave a message with the office. Our sympathy goes to Sarah and Jason Tilford, whose grandfather recently passed away. Jason and he were particularly close. We hold you in our hearts, Jason and Sarah. Our loving care to the Schnitzler family, who had a rare virus run through their beloved pet rats and lost many of them. Our pets are part of our families. We are so sorry. Kathy Liebling's beloved cousin's husband has entered hospice. This is such a difficult time, and we send our love. We hold in our hearts our very own Chalice family, who are amongst 240,000 Ukrainians whose ability to stay in our country may be revoked in the coming weeks by this new administration. Please pray for them. Finally, on a happier note, we thank Mike Cowlis for organizing a controlled burn behind the church as part of a long-term prairie restoration program. Good work, Mike. And Art as Resistance, thanks to all who joined us. Over 55 people helped. And this table that's once finished will be available at the Time and Talent auction, bringing to life the work of our hands for a better world. Together we do make a difference. And shine our light. Thank you to all the households who submitted pledge forms for 2025 and 26. I don't know if this is still accurate, but if you are among the 30 or so households that we've not yet heard from, please submit your form now. The stewardship team will be contacting those we do not hear from. Not a threat, just... And please remain seated as we sing one verse of Spirit of Life. Our reading is Safety Net by Rosemary Watola Tromer. This morning, I woke thinking of all the people I love and all the people they love, and how big is the net of lovers. It felt so clear, all those invisible ties interwoven like silken threads, strong enough to make a mesh that for thousands of years has been woven and rewoven to catch all of us. Sometimes we go on as if we forget about it, believing only in the fall, but the net is just as real. Every day, with every small kindness, with every generous act, we strengthen it. Notice even now, how as the whole world seems to be falling, it is there for us as we walk the day's tightrope. How every tie matters.
It is such a joy to be back in this place with you all. It's always such a vibrant welcome I get from you all. I feel the warmth, and it is just beautiful. Beautiful to be together again. So I like often to start by telling the truth about some hard things, because if we can establish a baseline about what is real, then we can establish some trust and go from there. And so it may be gauche to start a sermon this way, but I am exhausted a lot of the time paying attention to the world around us. It's tempting to get drawn into anxiety and overwhelm. I mean, trigger warning, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things happening. We've got chainsaw-style policy and budget cuts, tariff and trade war, arrests of activists, we got ICE raids breaking up families, we've got mass firings of federal workers and job insecurity, deep cuts to the Department of Education and environmental oversight, spreading scientifically inaccurate and hateful misinformation about gender identities, halting scientific research, universities stopping taking new graduate students because they don't know what's going to happen with their funding situation, cutting DEI. There are so many things, and it's shocking on a regular basis. I just want to acknowledge that that's where we are right now. And it's exhausting and overwhelming. It's a shock doctrine. They do this. It's done on purpose. So the last time I think I felt so exhausted was at the birth of my first child. After 20 years of knowing that I wanted a child, they were finally coming, but it was not fast enough. I was in labor for a long time, and my doctor would continually come and check on me. Eventually he said, my 12-hour shift is over and I gotta go home and get some rest. Yeah, must be nice. The next morning, I was still there. So my body was at the edge of what it could tolerate. My blood pressure kept spiking dangerously high. I hadn't eaten in 2 days, and this baby was just content to keep getting room service. It was 48 hours. And so when this baby finally came, I put them on my chest, slightly purple and stunned, and they were silent, and I cried. They like to tell this part of the story, my kid. They like to say, Mama cried, but I didn't cry. So of course I was elated. But then, after the first few moments of elation, the exhaustion just came pouring back. Anyone who's been with a newborn probably has a visceral memory of the exhaustion of taking care of them, of feeding them every 2 hours and tending to them, and their constant growth and their constant needs. So that evening, I was struggling to stay awake and care for this baby, and an angel appeared in the form of a nurse, and she offered to take this baby so that I could rest for a little while. And I was desperate. So I trusted this person with my most precious one, my little bundle of revolution. It was the respite and the renewal that I needed, and I woke up feeling like a new person. I felt better able to both care for and bond with my newborn, and the gratitude that I felt towards the staff is still with me today. I just couldn't do it alone, even when it seemed like my most important job. So we took it in shifts. And that's the truth, isn't it? We can't do it all alone. There's so much to do, and we'll be ineffective and we will exhaust ourselves if we try to do it all alone. And this helps no one. But we're not alone, are we? We are not. If you'd like to look around, we are not alone. We can take it in shifts. What does that look like? Well, I'd like to give you an example from the real world outside of my own family. This image you see is a mural painted about the Cochabamba water war. The Cochabamba water war in Bolivia happened in the late 1990s. So under pressure from the government, under pressure from the World Bank, the Bolivian government privatized the water supply in Cochabamba, which was the third largest city at the time. They gave control of the water to an international consortium led by the US-based company Bechtel. This is not an uncommon story. The Bechtel company insisted on high profit margins, citing the high risk of the project, and the Bolivian government agreed. So, of course, the costs were passed on to the citizens. So rates for water drastically increased, as much as 300%. And even rural farmers living off of well water had to pay for their water at these exorbitant prices. So for many low-income families, up to a quarter of their income was being spent on this very basic need. For the poorest residents of Cochabamba, the fear over not being able to access clean water became a matter of life and death. They were desperate. They were angry. The citizens felt betrayed by their government for selling to a private multinational corporation, not just because of the financial hardship, but because of the loss of control of this basic human necessity. And the outrage at being exploited became a focal point for a protest movement. So in response to these price hikes, the people in Cochabamba organized and united to resist. They formed a coalition called La Coordinadora, and they engaged in sustained collective action through protests, marches, and citywide strikes. But what was so notable about this movement was the way it was implemented. Periods of high-intensity collective action were balanced with intervals of deliberate rest and community building. Instead of constant escalation, the protesters would periodically pause, allowing people to recharge physically and emotionally when leaders regrouped to strategize. These pauses were instrumental in sustaining the long-term struggle, especially since many participants were balancing activism with work and family obligations. They took shifts for their revolution. The government initially responded with violent oppression. People were injured and killed. It was scary. The stakes were so high. But the people, bolstered by their periods of rejuvenation, persisted together. And after months of demonstrations and strikes punctuated by periods of rest and community building, the government eventually rescinded the privatization contract and returned control of the water supply back to the city in the year 2000. By pacing the struggle, participants avoided burnout. They maintained solidarity, and they effectively mobilized their resources over time, ultimately being successful in getting the justice that they were fighting for. So the lessons from this seem to be this: do what you can. Do it in community, and take shifts for the revolution. What exactly is the revolution? I leave it ambiguous. I leave it for you to define on purpose, because revolution isn't one size fits all, and there's many different changes that are happening on many different scales. It might look like the Cochabamba water war, a fight against an unjust policy or government action. It could be a sweeping class-based uprising to transform political, economic, and social structures. Or perhaps it's a cultural shift. I feel the ministry is essential in part of that, is shifting our ideas about the way culture could be. Maybe it's at the micro level, maybe it's at the larger level. Maybe we reimagine work-life balance and prioritize care over productivity and relationships over products. It can be a big change, or it can be a small part of your world. Maybe it's a work policy. Maybe it's the arrival of a new baby in your family. But at its core, a revolution is a profound change, especially one that you are driving or passionate about. A change that dismantles the old to make way for something new. So after my first child was born, my whole world changed. But I couldn't care for this baby alone. And if I tried, it would have been ineffective or worse. I needed to trust other people to help, and I needed to take it in shifts. And it wasn't just that one nurse overnight who helped. There were a whole slew of people, the village, right? The minister came to the hospital to give a blessing to our family. A gigantic basket of gifts arrived from the congregation. Beloved sent meals to our home. My mother came to visit and take a few literal shifts. I have this memory of my mother. I was nursing this baby, and my mother was feeding me a homemade custard. I think she hadn't done that in 30 years, but she showed up and did what needed doing, what she was able to do. So we can't do it alone. There's so much to be done, particularly thinking ahead to the coming months and years. I anticipate needs for increased mutual aid, recognition of our common humanity, and for trust in one another and leaning on each other. So, in that spirit, in a few moments, I'm going to ask something of you. This is a very interactive service today. I'm going to ask you to think about what you need, so I invite you to start thinking now about what you need in your life. Because resistance and activism can look like a lot of things. And you don't have to do the things that don't fit who you are. You can do what you're able and willing to do. If calling or sending notes to your representative is a thing you feel like you can do that. If going to a march is a thing you feel like you can do that. But if babysitting someone's kids so they can go to a march is a thing you can do that. You can also make small talk with a stranger as a way of building bridges and starting to develop trust. You can bear witness to someone's struggle and lighten their load so that they can go and do what they need to do. There is power in being witnessed. But the key here, again, we do what we can. We do it in shifts. And we do it in community. So now, as promised, I'm going to ask of you this morning, I invite you to turn in groups of 2 to 4, it doesn't really matter, and place your trust in one another to talk about these 2 questions. What needs do you have? The question's on the board. What needs do you have that someone else could help with? Is it connection? Is it respite? Is it someone taking your kids to the park for a few minutes so that you can have a break? Is it active help with a project or advice? And then, what do you feel like you are able to do? What can you offer to the needs of the people in your life around you? Is it marching? Is it calling an official? Is it babysitting? Is it bringing food to someone to lighten their load? Is it listening? I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. That probably won't be enough, but it'll be a start, and we can finish later. So I invite you now for the next 5 minutes to turn to one another in small groups and discuss these questions. Thank you. I hate to break it up. You guys sound like you are just so involved and engaged in your conversations. I'm going to encourage you all to continue these conversations. It can't be stopped. Who am I to stop it? There is so much to talk about, right? Okay.
There's a potluck later.
There is a potluck, exactly. Thank you all. Thank you for engaging. As I said, I invite you to continue these conversations during the potluck, after service, and at other times in your life. And I thank you again for indulging me in this interactive exercise. So I ask, did you find something you can do? Did you find something you can ask for? Some yeses? Do you feel like you put your trust in one another a little bit as you engaged in these conversations? It can be vulnerable to ask for what we need because we're taught that way, but it doesn't have to be that way. Do you feel connected to your community, one another? Some. It is my prayer for us that we find the strength to do what we can, the humility to do it in community, and the wisdom to take it in shifts. Do what you can. Do it in community, and take it in shifts for the revolution. Ashe, Amen, and blessed be.
UU composer and activist Elizabeth Alexander, who wrote the piece we're about to sing for you, says, "My mother once confessed to me that she and my father had occasionally speculated about what their 4 children's future paths might be, and even hoped for specific outcomes. But what happened," she continued, "was that you all went out and did very different things, things that were more wonderful than what we had imagined. Trust the seeds that you are planting, that we plant here with each other, and that we will go out and plant in the larger world. Trust the seeds. We may not get to see them grow, but we might. Trust the seeds that we plant."
As we extinguish our chalice, please join me in saying the words of Elizabeth Sell Jones displayed on the screen. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of its truth, the warmth of this community, nor the fire of our commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world. And if you would, please rise and bow to your spirit and sing our closing hymn, I Know I Can.
Rest is resistance, and true solidarity lies in recognizing that our shared well-being requires us to prioritize not just action, but also the necessary space to replenish and care for ourselves and each other. It is my prayer for us that we find the strength to do what we can, the humility to do it in community, and the wisdom to take it in shifts. Amen. Go in peace. Go in love.